What is going on, World Mobile Nation? Welcome to Dap Central. My name is Fareed, covering all of the latest news and updates going on in Cardano. And welcome back to the second stream, in which we're going to be focusing on World Mobile, chatting about all of their updates with two big contributors to their ecosystem, Cal and Rob. So without any further ado, let me bring them both up here on the stage. First, we've got Cal, aka Clover Nodes, ENO and stake pool operator building on Cardano. Cal, welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. It's been an awesome week. Lots of announcements happening, and it's good to be here. It's good to see you.
Likewise. The first stab that we took at this last week or 2 weeks ago, I should say, went very well. And so I'm excited to have you back on here as well as Rob. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring him up himself. We've got Rob, aka Rob Cardano. Welcome to the channel, Rob. How are you doing?
Doing great, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. A little early, but I'm ready to chat World Mobile. So I want to thank the both of you for coming on. And again, I look forward to this particular chat. So just giving the viewers a brief rundown of today's live stream. First things first, we are going to jump into the WMT stats or WMT scan. Following that, we're going to chat a little bit about their latest World Mobile buyback, as well as a brief review of the NFT market or the EarthNode NFT market. Now, the main content for today's live stream will be focusing on the Pakistan data reveal. For those of you who are not aware, we just saw that data integrated into WMT Scan about a week ago. And so that's now going to incorporate Zanzibar data as well as Pakistan data. After that, I want to touch on the aerostat. So we've got some additional updates when it comes to that. We've got an operating altitude officially reached with a payload officially installed or attached to the aerostat. Now, in closing, we are going to wrap up with two partnerships, one with SEW and then one with Singularity Net. And they're both going to be focusing on AI and AI adoption. So really interesting piece that we didn't get to really dive into as a part of the last live stream, but hopefully we can pick up on that with this live stream. So now that we've got the agenda out of the way, Rob and Cal, you guys ready to jump on in?
Let's do it.
All right. So let me share my screen here. We're going to kick
Ready?
things off with WMT Scan. So the price right now of each WMT token currently sits at 13 cents. Obviously, we've had a nice little pump in Bitcoin as well as ADA in the past couple of days, which I think has played into that. In terms of the market cap, sitting at $66 million, and then circulating supply, 491 million tokens, with a global balance staked of 365 million. Now, we've got a pretty big update here since the last time that we chat or the last time that we live streamed, and that's going to be the inclusion here of both Pakistan and Zanzibar data. As it sits right now, we've got 499 air nodes deployed in Zanzibar, and then we've got 336 deployed within Pakistan. In terms of total network usage, we've got 4.79 terabytes consumed in the last 24 hours, 38,000 users utilizing the network within the last 24 hours, and then a total network uptime of 541 days. So I'll turn it over to maybe Cal first. Any thoughts surrounding WMT Scan and just some of the latest numbers that we've got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thought is that I've been paying attention to the network consumption, the total, and I believe we went well above 5 terabytes this time around. So that was really good to see. I think that was a good record to hit. And we've been getting a lot of new air nodes actually on the network. There was an announcement, and more came in this week. And also, a cool thing that we saw was that the total buyback was the highest we've ever seen. So I am thinking that is because of Pakistan and all the nodes that have been launching there. What I really enjoy right now is that you can kind of zoom in the actual air nodes, and it kind of gives you a perspective of where exactly the air nodes are, and how dense that network is in that specific location. So if you really pay attention to the density, you can kind of see that World Mobile kind of puts these air nodes in locations and strategic locations where there's more population. And in order to increase the network stability, these air nodes are placed closer to each other, which is really good to see. And I'm just excited to see this network grow. I'm excited to see where things are gonna go with Pakistan, and I'm also excited to see United States. Love to see the map and all the air nodes pop up there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of alpha that you wanted to potentially ask me about later on in this live stream, which I think ties back to that. But you're 100% right. I would love to see World Mobile kicking off in the US. I know that in my prior interviews, Mickey has said that they do want to begin focusing on their strategy and just their rollout here within the United States. And so seeing them launch the eSIM, seeing them kick off the first network here was really great at Rare Evo. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else they have in this in the plans for the US. Now let's kick it over to Rob. Any thoughts, number one, surrounding the addition of Pakistan data? And then number two, does anything stand out to you with respect to what we've just looked at compared to our last live stream?
I think it's really exciting to see the growth. And if you just think about Zanzibar itself, what was it last time? 471. I mean, it was something that they've added 20 plus air nodes to Zanzibar just in the past 2 weeks alone. So again, even though that's the test market, they're not abandoning it. They're continuing to grow. People are in the sharing economy are buying into it, and you're seeing a solid customer base there. And then with Pakistan, if you look at where those are placed, Lahore is a population, I believe, of like 11 or 12 million people. It's the second biggest city in Pakistan. And Pakistan has 145 million people in it. So Lahore it's a big city, and they're not even in the heart of the city. They're in kind of the suburbs, and they're deploying by way of a partner that is basically utilizing their software and adding it, and they're kind of slowly starting on the outskirts of the city and kind of circling and moving into it. So just imagine once we start seeing deployed air nodes that are even hitting more population dense areas, the downtown areas, the major shops and bazaars, and kind of those population hubs. I think that we're going to see a lot more. And I'm not, maybe I heard this wrong, but Mr. T did an X space this past week that he was just on fire. It was an amazing space. And I think I need to re-listen to it again, because I swear he let it slip in that there are over 500 nodes in Pakistan alone and over 50,000 paying customers in Pakistan right now. That's not shown on WMT scan. And even if that was, even if I misheard that, that's still more than what's showing right now overall on WMT scan. But I believe you said in Pakistan alone, where they have no boots on the ground. So I think we're going to see those numbers go up. I think we're going to see the amount of revenue sharing come back to World Mobile from their partner in Lahore. And I think that as more nodes go out, it's going to hit a bigger portion of that population, whether or not they're paying customers with the World Mobile and the World Mobile partner, the affiliate partner. I think that we're going to see more connectivity with those air nodes as a result. So it's definitely very exciting to see those numbers. And again, I think that we're just going to start seeing number go up big time with WMT scan.
I want to jump in there real quick and ask Rob something. Rob, I know you did mention that you used to live in Pakistan, correct?
Correct.
And how was the reception when you used to live in Pakistan? Was there any connectivity there? Do you remember at all, or how did that work?
We went and paid a company for dial-up, and we were very lucky if we could connect to send emails. I remember one time we tried to listen to a Nebraska Cornhuskers football game on the Husker.com, and it would buffer, because this was back in 2000, 2001. So this is before cell phone devices and that kind of stuff was readily accessible. And yeah, when I didn't even own a cell phone in the United States before I moved to Pakistan. So it's, you can't even compare compare the two right now. But but I have been to Lahore a couple of times. We had to go to renew our This is, so we had traveler visas, and what you do is you get a 3-month visa that you could renew a couple of times. So we were in Pakistan for 3 months, and right as that was expiring, we'd jump over to India, and we would stay there for a day or two, and then come back. And we'd always go through Lahore, and then we go to Amritsar. And so we did this a couple of times. One time we went deeper into India for a couple of weeks, but so I would stay in Lahore. It was two trips, but it was actually, there for a night or two, then into India, and then back for a night or two in Lahore before we'd go back up to Peshawar, which is by the Afghanistan border. Um, so I've been there. I've been to the bus stations. I've been around some of the kind of the touristy places in Lahore, and so it's fun for me, even though it's been 22, 23 years almost, seeing these places I've been to, and seeing how they've modernized a little bit, updated a little bit, but it has a familiar feel to it. So I definitely get a little homesick, maybe watching these videos and thinking, man, I was there. I for a year I called Pakistan home, and it was really fun to reminisce seeing these things. It was very, very encouraging for me.
Nicely said. I'm wondering, and maybe one of you has a potential answer, but how is World Mobile actually going when it comes to strategically picking the areas that they've deployed their air nodes in? I know earlier Clover mentioned the density, and if I pull up WMT scan again, let's see here. We've got 67 air nodes towards what looks like more or less like the central area of Pakistan. And then we've got an additional 269 down here in this particular area.
And
So I'm wondering,
remember, this is just the city of Lahore. This
mhm,
isn't Pakistan. This is just the city on the south, kind of the south central border. It's, if you look at the overall map and you go straight to the east, there's the Indian border right there. There's Amritsar. Um, so this is just kind of the central eastern border that touches India. So very, very small landmass by comparison to the entire country.
that is fair. I know, for example, with Zanzibar, everything is a little bit more tight, right? They don't have as much land as we have here in Pakistan. So I think over there, they didn't have any choice but to actually just be dense because of just the amount of space that was there. But really interesting to see where they've picked to deploy so far. Now, there is one thing that I wanted to jump into very quickly, which was going to be the buybacks. And so Khaled actually hit this earlier that this latest buyback appears to be a little bit more than before. And I think he's attributed that to the recent deployment and additional revenue being generated by the air nodes now available in Pakistan. Now, if we take a look at the total buyback balance, that brings us back to $40,000 US total, which again will be distributed back over to stakers, ENOs, and I believe air node operators. Now, I did have a question here, which came in from another content creator, which I think you guys answered directly or between you and us. But I want to maybe just ask it here as well, because I'm thinking that other people may have the same question. So Josh from Lake M Crypto reached out to me and he asked me if there was any way for us to know the exact percentage or amount which was supposed to be going back towards the latest buybacks. Do either one of you want to take a shot at answering that here?
I don't think I know the answer to that personally,
Mhm.
so maybe Rob, you can jump on that. I would just say that it's kind of hard to figure out the percentage when you don't know the exact numbers that each air node is paying back to the sharing economy. So at the moment, we have the top 10 air nodes on WMT scan. So I mean, you can guesstimate from these numbers and the amount of consumption each one brings and how much data each one has, and then you can kind of sort of, I guess, divide that with the total of monthly buybacks and obviously the total air nodes. But if you really want to know the answer to that, I think maybe we most likely need to wait for the updated WMT scan that's currently being worked on. And once we have that, I'm pretty sure that each air node's gonna, have all that information, how much data it brings, how much exactly it brings, and then we'll have like a total picture of, what these buybacks are. And something I kind of wanted to touch on, I saw a comment on Twitter, and it's kind of related to that, I guess. But someone, I think it was Jane. Jane, she's pretty big in the Cardano community, and she'd asked someone, I think it was Paul, and then she asked them, "Isn't World Mobile essentially centralizing the token when these buybacks happen, right? Because obviously they're going to be the person who owns a lot of these tokens when that happens." And the answer to that, Gene, if you ever listen to this, is no. They're not going to centralize it because these buybacks are specifically placed so they can pay back Earth node operators and reward them for participating in the network. So just wanted to answer that to her, even though she kind of pointed that question towards Paul. So I didn't really want to jump in there and, answer for him. But yeah, that's the answer to that. So it won't centralize it, right? Because I mean, Cardano has had the same thing where, people always joke around with like, oh, they should start doing like a biweekly or weekly buyback program. Everyone jokes around about that. But it's completely different from what World Mobile is doing and how the sharing economy is structured.
Yeah, I think what you said there at the very end is what's key, right? That they're distributing this back over to operators, keeping the network up and running. I don't think anybody would have any issues with Cardano buybacks if they were also being distributed back over to, stakers or as additional rewards to other members within the ecosystem. Rob, anything that you maybe want to add there? Again, I know that without the full picture, it is hard to identify how much of the revenue from the protocol is going back over to purchasing the buybacks or contributing to the buybacks, but anything that you just want to add there, generally speaking?
So I'm trying to remember where I saw it this past week, but somebody did a kind of a breakdown. It's all based on assumption, but the long and short of it is they calculated out that it was about 17%. And again, this is kind of guessing on figures based on what the partner in Pakistan was charging per month per user, and saying that World Mobile got 15% of that or something like that. And they broke down these numbers, and they made these assumptions based on what they're seeing of the buyback, especially with this increase here, 25,000 over the past week that were part of the buyback for WMT. And so yeah, again, there's some unknowns in there, and there's some assumptions that are made, but they made the assumption of 17%. And I wish I could pull it up right now on the fly and figure out who that was, but and I can't remember if it was on Discord or if it was Telegram or if it was on X. But so there is that thought. We did have a meeting at Rare Evo with Mickey, and the Earth node operators were asking what that looked like if they're using rewards to pay back the Earth node operators. We've been told that these buybacks are going to go back into the Earth node operators, and potentially as well as delegators for staking as well. And the number they came up with is maybe even as high as 30%. We don't know if that's the case. The other problems we're looking at here, trying to figure this out right now, are things might not all be online right now. We don't know. We don't know how many Earth nodes are generating. We don't know how many paying customers World Mobile has. For example, in Zanzibar, we believe that we have 13, 14, 15,000 paying customers at any time, because World Mobile basically is the show there. That's the big thing. Whereas in Pakistan, we're using an affiliate partner that has an established base, and we are providing services to help benefit them. And so they're not World Mobile customers, but they're using World Mobile software and technology, and World Mobile is getting a cut of that. So it's kind of hard to figure out. Maybe somebody's paying $8 or $10 a month for their service in Pakistan, but again, is World Mobile getting all that? No, this is another established company that's paying World Mobile a percentage. So figuring out what that looks like and what that means for overall revenue monthly for World Mobile is very hard to do, because even if we knew every customer is paying this amount, in Pakistan there are no customers in the traditional sense at the moment. So I'm looking at this though, and I'm thinking as more air nodes come online, as more paying customers come online, as more revenue comes in, we are able to increase that. And I honestly believe that just in this very short time, we saw it go from, what were they going, 15, 16,000 up to 25 real quick. And that was the first week after Pakistan deployed. I mean, that was very, very short order. We're going to start seeing this thing where if you multiply that by 4, if they're doing it once a week, that's 100,000 WMT per month. I firmly believe that in very short time, we're going to start seeing, for right now, it's at what, 300 and some thousand WMT that they've bought back, 306,000. We're going to see that jump over a million here probably in the next couple of months, as things progress and continue. And I believe that hitting that million buyback mark is going to be nothing, because as things come more online, again, if prices were to stay the same, we'd start seeing probably a million plus buyback per week, if not per month. Again, that's prices staying the same. Obviously, if the token goes from 13 cents up to $1.13, they have an amount of fiat money that they have to buy it back. So the buyback is going to be lower, but the dollar amount is going to be higher. So, there's a lot of things that factor into how that buyback works, how much money are they bringing in, what the price of the coin is. So they take the percentage of how much money they have to buy a certain amount of coins. There's a lot of variables and fluctuations there, but the reality is they're putting a significant percentage of their income, their revenue, into these buybacks. And just to jump back to what Cal was talking about with the comments and asking about centralization. Well, think about this. This is a private business. They're not listed on the New York Stock Exchange. There's founders and co-founders. This is a private business. Now they're doing a sharing economy where we all have an ability to play a part in that, whether it's with earth nodes, with air nodes. But the reality is, it is centralized, and that's kind of how it needs to be. There's only 1,000 earth nodes. They're not making more, and so not anybody can just jump in and spin up an earth node like you can with a Cardano stake pool. So there is a level of centralization here. There is a level of control, because this is a private company. But what they're doing is they're saying, hey, instead of us spending $40 million building towers in one city, instead of spending $100 million, $1 billion trying to set up a network, what we're going to do is we're going to save that money. We're going to let other people establish the networks, and we're going to reward them for doing it, because it means less overhead for World Mobile. So they allow us to participate with it, be part of the team in a sense. And we're still using their software. We're still using their data. We're being rewarded off of what comes through the overall network, but there's more benefits if in our local area we're able to do more, such as an affiliate program where we're the ones that are either selling to the customers or the ones providing the air nodes. There are some benefits there for that local franchise. If you think about it, yes, we're talking blockchain. Everyone wants decentralization, but think about it from the example of McDonald's. McDonald's has their corporate. Ray Kroc was kind of the main founder of McDonald's, and what did Ray do? Ray owned the rights and kind of told people, hey, let's place things here, here, and here. People would build the franchises. They pay a percentage back to McDonald's corporate. So you have the individual franchises that have the licenses, but they have to be in compliance with what McDonald's corporate says. And in a sense, that's kind of what's going to happen here with the air nodes. It's kind of with this sharing economy is we get to be a part of it, but there's still an overarching control that is centralized. And that's okay. This isn't a free for all. We're going to start our own telecoms companies. We're going to start these franchises. We're going to do these things that are that are still we still have marching orders from World Mobile. So I think that the concerns about centralization versus decentralization, I don't think they necessarily apply to World Mobile the same way they would to Cardano or to Bitcoin or to other things, kind of like we're used to in the crypto space. That being said, I don't believe that it is a venture capitalist dominated, pump and dump kind of a thing like you see with some of the other coins that people like to make fun of. It's apples and oranges due to this being an actual private company that has an actual product that is outside of the blockchain.
Yeah, I think what you said there when comparing World Mobile to the Cardano network is just perfect, right? Cardano's permissionless. It's open for anybody to jump on and spin up a stake pool. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all the projects built on the network have to live or abide by the same rules. Granted, yes, we would like to see them, be open source, et cetera, but they're not established in the same sense. And then to just jump back to that previous point that you were talking about when it comes to the revenue, I think the main thing that I took from there was that there's just too many variables, right, to be able to pick a specific number. But then also as the network grows, a lot of those variables are going to change. So we could probably expect that, whatever value, whatever percentage of the revenue is being used now probably won't be the same exact percentage or the same exact amount going towards that as the network actually grows. Now, that's actually going to take us into the next piece here very quickly that I want to jump into. And then we're going to jump into the main content for today's live stream. And so that's going to be a quick review of the EN or the Earth Node NFT market. So jumping over right now into jpeg.store, we've got the floor price at 120K, which I think is close to an all-time high, if it's not already an all-time high. We've got the best offer coming in right now for one of these NFTs at 95,000 ADA. And then we currently have just a really small amount below 1%. 0.6% being listed on the market. In terms of recent activity, we did get a recent, accepted collection offer, and that was for 96K. And again, right now we've only got 6 left on the market, with the cheapest one being 120K. Anything stand out to the both of you when looking at the Earth Node NFT market?
Besides the sweep NFTs button on top, where you can just sweep them all. No, they're just a scarce asset. I mean, there's only 6 available out of 1,000 currently, and it's definitely a scarce asset. What everything that you get when you purchase an Earth Node, it's a desirable NFT, and the fact that it's an NFT, right? It's just tied to giving you the right to operate this Earth Node. It's just it's amazing, and I closely follow all the sales myself, and it's I really enjoy when I see a new person that joins their community, and they post on Twitter or X or whatever, that they just purchased an Earth Node and they're excited about it, and they've been saving up for a very long time. And yeah, it's good to see that people are noticing all the stuff that World Mobile it's currently building, and what markets are what markets they're launching, and the potential that this network brings. And it's good to see new people coming in our space. So yeah, overall, really excited to see Earth Node sales. Really excited to see those numbers climb. I still think those numbers are very low, so don't sleep on them for too long, because these prices are not going to stay for like that for a very long time. I mean, there's only 2 that are close to 120,000 ADA, and the rest jump up. And after that, not many people are going to want to sell their Earth Nodes, especially after mainnet starts. I know something that the team has talked about on AMAs a little bit, and that's the fact that there is a certain amount of Earth Nodes that they still have in possession, and that was from cancellations off the auction, and people just not maintaining their 100,000 WMT. and the team has not decided what to do with these Earth Nodes NFTs yet. There's been talks about them, being released on other chains like Ethereum and Binance. And I personally think that that's actually an excellent idea and a decision if the team likes to go that route, because you can only imagine how strong our community is in Cardano, and then just picture the same type of community being formed on Binance or on Ethereum or Conflux or whatever other blockchain that is, for that matter. And I mean, this is a sharing economy after all. So you would technically want other communities being formed and help grow the network. So I'm just really excited overall to see these Earth nodes grow and the interest they bring.
Thank you for bringing that over to my remembrance, Rob. I'll turn it over here in just a minute. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they also plan to distribute them, right? Will it be done auction style? I think there's a couple of different ways to let them go. Maybe they'll be raffled off, or maybe do they have a pool of people that can apply to purchase them? I just feel like there's so many different ways for them to get these off. That they might just be able to do this in a way, hopefully, that brings more attention to them. Now, I think just generally speaking, over the past couple of weeks, World Mobile's been getting a lot of attention. And I think a lot of that is attributed to just so many different things being fired off back to back to back. And so I think, maybe the time is right now, because a lot of people are talking about World Mobile to launch something on a separate chain. But one thing that you really mentioned that resonated with me there, Cal, was this is a sharing economy, right? So maybe getting some exposure to some of these other ecosystems, beginning to build a strong community like we have here in Cardano would be beneficial on other networks. Rob, I'll turn it over to you. Any questions or comments about the Earth Node NFTs?
So the first Earth node that sold once the NFTs were distributed back in, I think, January it was, they started getting listed, and the first one sold for 135,000. Then we saw a drop, and they were really going for somewhere around 70,000. You'd see some that would go under, usually on offers, but 70,000. Then they started to rise up, and they'd fluctuate for a little bit. About 2 months ago, when we were at Rare Evo, and shortly after, there's definitely some FOMO, because rightfully so, and I'm part of that. The people got to see Mickey. They got to meet the team. They got really inspired, and so we joked about it. They said there's going to be a rush for people to get home, to get on their ledgers or their treasures and be able to buy these things. And you saw them go for about as low as 75 right after, usually on offers, between 75 and 95. And they got swept up real quick. And then that's what got to the point where now they're listing for 120 plus as a floor. I think the highest we've seen sold since that initial one is 128. But they've been really ranging, and the only times they really have dipped lower than the floor is on when people make a blanket offer and somebody decides they just want to sell and get out, and maybe get out a little bit ahead. But like Cal said, this is a it's a hot commodity. It's something that people want and people don't really want to let go of. And I'm not sure what that price is um, where people really want to say, "Hey, I'll take a lump sum to get out of this." But clearly, it's not at the floor that we're seeing right now, because there's only 6 available out of 1,000. Now, I will say this, and this is a lot of times, we have these conversations with folks, and there's certain things that should be kept personal, should not be. But this came up. I was talking to Mickey at Rare Evo, and my wife didn't come with me to Rare. We had an issue with family stuff, so she had to stay behind. So I'm calling her every day. I'm giving her updates, and usually she can't get a word in because I'm so excited about everything that we're doing, everything that we're learning, everything that we're talking about. And she says to me, she goes, "We need to get another Earth node." And so I walked up to Mickey, and I said to him, basically, "Here's my situation. Here are my goals. This is where I want to be." My wife said, "We need to get another Earth node." Now they're on sale right now on JPEG. You're still talking 85,000 at the time. I think the floor was like 96 or 100, but people were buying them, putting in offers, and they were almost overnight, somebody was getting one on a low ball offer, you know. And I said, Mickey, I'm gonna have to wait till I get home to do this. I said, World Mobile has a bunch of these right now that were forfeited, and I said, what's the plan? What's the plan here? Should I wait for a second auction? Should I wait for you to release these out, or should I go to the secondary market? And Mickey straight up said, get it off the secondary market. And
Let's go.
so I did. I went home and I got another one because I was like, I have to. I see the vision here. I see this as my future, for my family. I want to help this network. I believe that I'll be able to do that. And so I went and I bought another one with Ada. And Mickey did talk about how they were debating what percentages should go to the Ethereum blockchain, Conflux, the Binance blockchain, how they wanted to do that. And I think right now, what the reason they're not releasing these is because even though, yes, we're bridged to those coins, I haven't seen numbers to show what kind of activity we're getting with those bridge coins. I don't know how big the communities are yet. And it'd be really easy to flood the market with 120 more of these that they're going to be releasing. Or do they wait until they get more momentum? Do they wait till they get more of a community within those other chains where they can release them individually on a sale that is um, similar to the floor price that we have now, as opposed to dropping 120 more of these and dumping this floor down to 40 or 50,000. I think that wouldn't do what they're trying to do, because then the other problem is, okay, well then they're all out again. What was the point of holding on to them if they're just going to dump all of them at once on the same market? The other thing that I'm excited about when they do this is, if you remember the auction that we had initially, what happened was, if for people that don't remember, if you had 100,000 WMT in your vault, you could reserve an Earth node, and there's only 1,000 of them. So when people started getting WMT, whether you got it on the pre-sale or whether you got it when it finally became legal to buy here in the U.S. on MEXC and KuCoin and these other places, on the swaps, we would start reserving these things. 100,000 WMT would put a reservation in. Eventually, we had to send that 100,000 into a smart contract, and they would send us back the Earth node, NFT. As Cal said, people would forfeit that. They would go under 100,000 in their vault, and all of a sudden now they just lost their reservation. So that's how all these reservations got forfeited initially. Then there's a few others that did it. They sent the 100,000 in, and then rather than sell in the secondary market, they just hit that forfeit button in the vault, and it forfeited it back. They got their smart contract with their 100,000 WMT. So a bunch of these showed up, but initially those initial forfeited ones that they had, there's about 80 of them at the beginning. They put those up for auction, and so we'd go through, and this is before the NFT got released. We'd have to say, hey, I have 100,000 in my vault, plus I'm willing to pay X amount of WMT in order to get this. And so, I think the lowest one went for about 20,000. The highest one was the last one, went for 90210. That's kind of a funny last one. You saw these things going 50, 60,000. The average was about 36,000 WMT. So you'd have your 100,000, then you'd have the amount that you're willing to bid, right? So your 100,000 gets locked up in the smart contract, but in order to get this, I'm going to go 36,000 WMT. What World Mobile did, they didn't keep any of that, not a single WMT. All that auction money they took in, and then they divided by 1,000, and they sent it back out. And if you had one Earth node, you got like 2,900 WMT. If you had 3 Earth nodes, you got 2,900 WMT times 3. And so they took all that and they said, we're auctioning this out, but we're not doing this for profit. We're doing this, and anyone who has the vision to hold one of these things, whether you got it in the auction or you reserved it initially, you're going to get 1/1000th of anything that comes in from that. And they distributed all of this out, so everyone benefited, and truly sharing economy in the way that they did that. And so what I'm looking forward to is, if they do some sort of an auction, they do sort of a thing where they bridge this out, then they're going to say, all right, here is the value that we brought in as a result of this auction. My hope is they do something similar where they say, for all of you that are waiting, here's a little extra bonus that came in by way of us selling these or auctioning these off like we did before. So again, I'm not sure if that's in their plans, but I hope it is. It'd be great to see that happen, because they've already done that and they've already set a precedent that they want to take care of the people that are supporting their network.
I'm gonna jump in real quick, and Rob, well said. And what I really liked about this whole auction thing is when they decided to just redistribute back the funds after those 100 WMT to like Earth node operators, and that just showed the team really cares about us as Earth node operators. So if we do another auction, I would love, obviously, for all these fees on top of that 100 WMT that you need to reserve be distributed back to Earth node operators.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Again, really interesting to see how the team is going to distribute them. But if there's anything that I know is that when they do something, it's, after doing their research and making sure that it is something that's going to be fair and add to the network, not take away from it.
And that's,
I do want to go
just
ahead.
jump in one little line there.
Yeah, not a
That's what I
problem.
love about this company is they are not knee-jerk or reactionary. Everything is calculated. They've looked at it 100 different ways, and they narrow things down. They make the best decision, and we don't see a lot of knee-jerk. And so I'm very, very excited for when this happens, because we know that they take the input from the community. They do all the calculations. They figure out what's the right approach, and again, it's not just throw things against the wall and see what sticks. It's we're going to find the best way. We're gonna figure this out the right way, and then we're gonna make sure that it benefits everybody.
Well said. Well said. I want to just take a quick minute here just to acknowledge some of the viewers as a part of today's live stream. We do have Cardano MM in the house. We've got Kinoko Cardano as well from earlier. We've got Hydrex telling us to listen up when Rob and Cal are speaking. So definitely, I thank the both of you guys for coming on. And I think I praised you guys last time, but it's well deserved, right? You guys have obviously done your due diligence. You guys have both been around this space, specifically with this project, for a long time. So whenever you guys do speak, even myself covering all these updates on Cardano, I'm consistently learning a lot of information. We've got Wave Nodes tuning in here. Thank you as well. And I want to just quickly take a second to answer a question that we did touch on earlier, but maybe we can just quickly recap here for Manoj. So Manoj asks, what happens to those buyback tokens? Robert Cal, I believe I know the answer. Maybe one of you guys want to just quickly knock this one out.
So the plan is with the buyback tokens, World Mobile takes revenue, and we discussed a little bit earlier what we thought some of the calculations might be. They take that revenue and they buy back the token at market price. And one of the reasons for doing this is, as they're paying out rewards from the treasury, more WMTs potentially in the market. People are going to get paid for staking, for operating Earth nodes, and some people are going to want to take profits. And so now there might be more on the market. And obviously, it's a supply and demand. You're going to see a sell pressure. If people are trying to sell, the price is going to go down. And so what they're trying to do is level that out. They say, yes, we're distributing from the treasury. There's a finite supply in the treasury. The goal is to use funds to buy back the token to help keep it level, and then pay the people, pay the delegators, pay the people staking their WMT, pay the Earth node operators from this buyback. So right now they're hoarding it in a fund, and once the Earth nodes start operating, people are staking and delegating to specific Earth nodes. Their Earth nodes are producing for the network. They're going to start using those buyback tokens as a way of rewarding the network, and eventually that buyback is going to take over an entire bucket of payment structure for it. There's going to be several different ways that you can earn with your staking and with your Earth node operations, and this is going to be one of those ways. So what they're truly trying to do is trying to say, yes, more tokens are hitting the market now, even though they're the fixed finite supply of WMT. As these things come out, we're going to make sure that we are giving buying pressure to keep that price stable against the selling pressure. And then we're going to take those things and we're not going to keep them or burn the tokens. We're going to cycle them back through and keep this as a functional fluid economy.
Thank you for that answer there. Hopefully that answers your question there, Manoj. It definitely did to me. It sounds like, again, this is going to going back to supporters of the infrastructure, aka Earth node operators. We've got another question coming in here from Jason Campbell, and maybe I can pose this to the both of you guys and get your thoughts here as well. Now, again, keep in mind that we don't work directly for the team, so we don't have all of the details here surrounding how they plan on scaling, but we can definitely talk about that. But Jason's question is, what plans are in place, excuse me, to scale the production of aerostats into production of one aerostat? It's so intensive. Not only is it intensive, it's super expensive as well. I believe Mickey said that their cost upwards of $1 million. But what are your guys' thoughts surrounding this? I know that World Mobile is not going to be actually building out the aerostats themselves. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but they'll be working with actual manufacturers to then utilize their aerostats themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump on there. So they are using a third party manufacturer for these aerostats, and like you said, Fareed, it takes time to produce these air nodes, which are actually super air nodes, the aerostats. But the beauty of it is that once it's produced, it does cover an extensive amount of landmass, and it covers an extensive amount of customers. Therefore, it makes a lot of sense versus a regular MNO tower, right? And with the current aerostat, I mean, it's the first production aerostat that goes up for an actual telecommunication network. So that's just going to prove that everything works out as intended. And the beauty of all of this is that World Mobile has different backhaul solutions, right? I mean, they have the Google Tower project, they have Starlink as a backhaul whenever there is needed. There is obviously fiber optics and that can connect directly to the aerostat or fiber cable. Sorry. But to answer your question specifically, there is other manufacturers of aerostats, I'm sure, that can obviously be contacted. And I mean, just like in any other market where there is demand, it's going to be met. So obviously, if these things, are desired, then I'm sure other manufacturers will jump on board and say, "Hey, I mean, we can start producing these things. We're already in a similar marketplace, so we can start supplying you guys with these aerostats as long as there's high demand for them." So I think that's going to be the more important thing. Are they going to be in high demand first, and then after that, obviously we can see if there's more manufacturers that produce these things, which I'm sure there is. I've googled myself and I found a few of them that are already working with governments and their manufacturing. So I'm not quite sure what the capacity of those things are and how fast they can produce them, right? Because there's different types of these aerostats. And then another important thing is that there's going to be these HAPs, right, which are like lighter than air aerostats that World Mobile is working on, which will essentially be able to cover like a huge amount of land. I mean, Mickey's mentioned that you can actually have 2 or 3 aerostats to cover an entire United States, which is massive. So I think that like essentially solves the problem there with the aerostat production.
Yeah, just to put that into perspective, I thought that the aerostats were huge, but here's one of the HABs that Clover just mentioned. It says here that the HABs fly an altitude of 20 kilometers and can cover an effective area of 350 kilometers squared. So quite a lot of coverage area there. And I want to also just say thank you for that response there, Clover. I think a lot of this will depend on how many people actually want to install or utilize the aerostats, but I don't think that in terms of bottlenecks that we're going to see the actual production or World Mobile getting their hands on the actual aerostats being an issue moving forward. Rob, anything that you want to add here before we wrap up with the last questions from the chat?
I've just heard that one aerostat costs between $1 and $1.5 million, and I don't know if that's just to get the thing from the manufacturer, if that includes the helium needed, the payload, the ongoing maintenance, and backup helium, that type of stuff. So there is a cost to these things, and I believe they said that there is 4 or 5 that World Mobile own currently. So, picking the right places to deploy at the right times. Again, that's very, very strategic here. They have a list of people that are begging them to come to their countries and do these things. We've heard recently that when they were just at a conference in Rwanda this past week, people are lining up. People are excited. They're making news all over the African continent. There's countries in Asia that want to see the same thing happen. So there's a lot of demand. There's more demand by far than what they have the ability to do right now. And so they're doing these deployments, and we talked about that last time as well, about how they're rolling things out in phases, and they're trying different types of deployment in different nations in order to see what's going to work and how it's going to best fit the population, the topology, all of those things. But one of those things is the aerostat. So getting it right in Mozambique is very important, because once they have this down, once they've done all the testing, you're going to see much greater demand. You're going to see them want to be able to deploy quickly, get as much out as quick as they can when the time's right. So again, you measure twice, cut once, kind of a thing. They're doing this strategically. They're getting this ready, and in the meantime, again, these cost money. So if you're going to spend $1.5 million on one of these things, you got to make sure you're doing it right, and there's no issues. You also got to make sure that you have the funding to do that, and that's why we're seeing different types of deployment. That's why we're seeing increases in buyback, because we're starting to see that money come in. So I think that we're going to see some increases here, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit more testing before they can just roll out and drop 5 or 10 or 15 of these things in different countries and just go.
I agree with what you just said there, Rob. Let's take one more question here, and then we're going to move into the next topic. So this is coming in here from Blockchain Rev, and it states, anyone know how many tokens go in circulation per year and what the inflation rate is? So as they were actually speaking, I was able to pull this information up here. I'll take a quick shot at this, and I'll turn it over to Rob and Cal here to see if there's anything that they want to add to this as well. So here we have the token supply and the network inflation over time. I don't see any specific percentages here. Obviously, you've got this column on the left-hand side, but just generally speaking, what the trend looks like is as more of the tokens are actually deployed out over, we're going to start to see less and less inflation happening. So I'll leave the link to this here. Let me actually just post it in the chat there for you, and you can go ahead and touch on that or access that yourself. Anything that Rob and Clover Notes want to add here? If not, we're going to move into the next topic, which is going to be the eSIM.
I'll just add real quick. Do you see where it says the rate of monthly? If you scroll down a little bit, just like, oh, right there. Yeah. And let's see if I can read it. But the rate of the monthly inflation is essentially going to be 11.41%. In order to obviously target the 2 billion aggregate WMT supply. That's for 20 years. And then the total token inflation is 29%. So that right there should give you a base calculation when you ask that question.
Thank you. That is why I love having you guys here with me on the live chat. Blockchain Rev, I hope that answers your question. We're going to keep things moving along. We're going to jump into the eSIM. So I want to chat with Clover here. He recently took a trip with his family out to, I believe it's Disneyland. Now, when you took the trip, you actually, I believe, were able to get access to the World Mobile eSIM. Do you mind giving us, what your experience was like from beginning to end, purchasing it, getting it installed, and just how was the actual data and reception?
Yeah. So, like you said, it was a trip to Disneyland. And I did purchase an eSIM just to test out the service. I wanted to go in the website and see how easy it was to set it up. I finally got a new phone. I got the newest iPhone, so my iPhone did not come with a physical SIM card. So I had to essentially install my, I don't know, yeah, it's AT&T, yeah, that's what I'm using. So I did install eSIM from AT&T essentially. So I said, hey, why not just try the World Mobile, eSIM and see how it works. I mean, essentially, it's obviously the first blockchain powered eSIM, and it is a dynamic solution that's meant mostly for international roaming services. So not really per se for going to Disneyland, which is about an hour away from where I am, but it's more, I guess, geared towards if you're going to be traveling abroad, and not having to deal with, going to a local retailer and purchasing an eSIM from there and worrying about, you know, um, your data package going lower and then having to go back and purchase another SIM card that is. The beauty of all of this is you can really just top up, and it's super, super simple. You would just go to the website, purchase one of their packages, and essentially just scan a QR code. It takes you like 5 minutes, and then obviously that gets you the eSIM card installed on your phone. Yeah, you have it up on the screen right there, and there's specific settings. If you go to how it works in there, that you should be turning on. I think it's like a roaming setting on your iPhone. Um, but yeah, it's very simple. If you're traveling abroad, I recommend try out the service, and it's good. And it's not only for traveling abroad. Like I said, this is a dynamic solution. So one of the use cases for this would be, actually air nodes would be tied up to eSIMs as well. So it's a good solution, and that this is why it's a decentralized solution, because like I said, you would have it installed in air nodes, and then you'll be able to actually track all the data and usage for each air node through this eSIM. And then essentially, I had it for, well, I still have it for about like 3 weeks now. And it's I've been using it as my primary network. I've also tested it to tether to other devices, so that also works. And it's a good solution, because if you're actually on top of the World Mobile Network itself, like if you're roaming through an air node, it's also a private solution as well. So you would essentially know that your privacy is secured, and this is why Mickey always talks about the different type of reasons why you would want to own an air node. Is not only is that you would essentially be providing connectivity for your current location, but you would also obviously be roaming on top of a private network and a secure network. So a lot of people take privacy for granted. I'm one of these people as well. I'm just so used to, just accepting the fact that, these corporations and these, mobile network operators just track me, and they just take my data and then they just sell it, and it's just not that I take it for granted per se, but I guess I don't have a choice. It's like, what is really my choice? I get tracked all the time, and what this private network that World Mobile provides is just a beauty. You get to actually protect your privacy, and that's really, really important. So there's a few things that I would obviously want to see with this eSIM added. Obviously, I would love to see more devices be brought on, but that's just mostly reliant on, I guess, on manufacturers adding these eSIM services to their devices. Most of the early iPhones, they're supported, and most of the Android phones, you're gonna have to essentially purchase a little bit more of a newer model if you want to enjoy this eSIM. But it's good to see that essentially more and more manufacturers are heading that way and accepting this um, you know eSIM service. let's see. What else would I want to see with my eSIM? I would say calling and texting capabilities. That would also be a really good thing to add. I know that right now the eSIMs are data only, and I mean, you can do all of that, through your WhatsApp or whatever, Facebook Messenger. You can call someone. You can use what is it, FaceTime call or text. But it's good, if you want to text someone or actually call someone. So these are type of things that World Mobile is working on, and these are type of things that we are going to see happening through the eSIMs. Um, yeah, so I'm really excited about these eSIM. It's I can't wait for for actual infrastructure to be laid out, and harder to reach places. I mean, I'm an avid snowboarder, so whenever I go snowboarding up in the mountains, I never ever have reception. And this is going to be one of the best locations that you can put up some infrastructure like an air node and connect these people, the avid snowboarders. So yeah, so this is in a nutshell what my experience has been, and yeah, just excited. I recommend everyone try the service. It's pretty price competitive. You most likely can get a cheaper option. I mean, I had people like DM me, on Twitter and say, "Hey, look, my country operator, they offer a cheaper service." I mean, you see it right there on the screen. It's like $50 for the most expensive um, coverage and data. But then again, you really got to think about the fact that World Mobile constantly is making these roaming agreements with different mobile network operators. So when you're traveling abroad, you're kind of stuck to only one, mobile network operator. So you get to only use their network. But when you are using this eSIM, essentially, you would technically be roaming on top of other networks per se. So you're not only limited to one network, so you got to really think about that. And then there's people that travel to different countries. They're not just in one country. There's like people that travel for work, so you could use that eSIM, and especially if you're in Europe, you can like hop to one country to another and just not have to worry about going and getting a physical SIM card and stuff like that. So exciting times, yeah.
So overall, it sounds like a good experience on your end, Clover. Sounds like in terms of potential changes or just things that you would like to see being done would be support for additional devices or more devices, and then potential support for other features, i.e., texting, and I believe calling you mentioned, right? So that's actually a new piece of news for me there. I didn't realize that it was just for data. I thought that you could also, text, call, etc., with the existing packages right now. Now, did you mention which package you actually purchased, or did I just miss that?
I purchased the top package, the one for $50, whatever it was. Yeah. So that's the one I got. And yeah, it's good so far. I mean, I would love to see, more countries, being added, more obviously roaming agreements from different mobile network operators. But these are things that the team is working on. You guys have seen they're not going to leave only the 40 countries. I'm sure the list is going to be growing, and by the time we know it, it's going to be pretty much every single country that they have roaming agreements with. It's going to be included. So definitely more countries for sure coming on the list.
Well said.
If I
Rob,
could,
anything you want to add?
yeah, I wanted to jump in and just something that just happened yesterday. I was talking with Cal, and he actually, for as involved as we all are in the different things, there's so much information out there. It's really easy to miss something, to forget something. I wanted to. I have an iPhone. It's on AT&T. It's locked. I can't even download the eSIM for it. But I also can't do scan for points because I can't download the World Mobile app yet. And so I wanted to get an Android phone just for this purpose. I also have a boy who's about to turn 11, and if as we start to let him venture out a little bit more, it'd be good to have an emergency or a backup phone that he can call me. So I thought, well, I'll get an Android phone. And I was looking and I was ready to buy a model. In fact, I bought a model online and I had to go back and immediately cancel it because I'm texting Cal, and Cal actually sent me the list of which Android phones are will accept the eSIM via the World Mobile website. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. The website, it's esim.worldmobile.io, and there's actually an FAQ at the bottom. It says which devices support eSIMs, and it goes through and it lists all of the different phones for the different manufacturers. And I was going to order a Samsung Galaxy A14. It was under $200, brand new, and hey, that's cool. It has a nice operating system and should hold out for a while. It's not on the list, so I ended up getting ordered a Google Pixel 5, which is on the list there, an unlocked one. So you buy an unlocked one, and that way you're able to you're not beholden to any specific cell phone company that might not let you add an eSIM. So very, very glad that Cal pointed that out. But I wanted to make sure, I sit up here and I act like I know a thing or two, and I almost bought the wrong phone. In fact, I did, and I canceled it within 5 minutes, so I got lucky there. But this is a resource that's available on the esim.worldmobile.io website, and it's good that you double check what you're doing when you're trying to do it. Now, I do have a question because I've been an iPhone guy. I don't have the app yet, and Cal might be able to answer this for me. When my phone comes in and I get the World Mobile app and I want to start doing the scan for points, I won't have a network carrier. I won't have any sort of cellular service because I don't have anything. This phone is completely unlocked and not beholden to anybody. Do I need to get the eSIM so I have World Mobile affiliation to this phone in order to scan for points?
No, you don't. You don't have to do that. So, as a matter of fact, you don't even need internet connection when you're scanning for points. As long as obviously you connect to a Wi-Fi connection afterwards, all the information is going to be sent over to World Mobile. So I did ask that question to James Tag when I was in Vegas. So that's actually something that I wondered about too, because I had to go out and purchase an Android device as well, so I can be like scanning the network and helping the team. Oops, my camera just turned off. Uh-oh. I must have forgotten to press that button, Fareed. I'm sorry. Hold on, let me
No
turn it back on.
problem. We can still hear you nice and clear.
Hello, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so you don't need connectivity. As long as you connect to Wi-Fi eventually, all that information is going to get passed through. And yeah, James Tag kind of cleared that up for me as well, because I did have the same kind of line of thought, and I was like, hey, wait a second, I'm not connected to an actual cell service, so how would I pass that information over? So yeah, you're good. You can keep on scanning. One thing I wanted to answer, someone did ask, would pricing ever be competitive for people who don't travel all the time? Yes, pricing will definitely. Well, pricing is competitive as we speak right now. It's not the cheapest, right? But like I said, there's a lot of benefits to the service itself. But yes, pricing will definitely be cheaper. And don't forget, this is only for when you're technically roaming abroad, but whenever there's infrastructure laid out to whichever country World Mobile launches, they aim to be probably about 12 times cheaper to every single other MNO. So if you go to the Zanzibarian and Tanzania website, you can definitely see the pricing. It's really, really competitive. And I know Mickey talked a little bit and gave some alpha to the last AMA. I'm not going to name any numbers just because I'm sure that's not like final and stuff like that. But yeah, for sure, it's going to be competitive as long as you're roaming on top of an air node, essentially, which is going to be World Mobile Infra.
Well, the other important thing to remember too is this is for the eSIM to get on networks where you don't otherwise have coverage. So this is more for travel. This isn't for sitting at your house and surfing the internet. This isn't for being in your hometown if you're in the middle of a big city in the United States. That's not what the eSIM is meant for. Once World Mobile comes out with become a World Mobile member, have a World Mobile phone service plan, things like that, you're going to see very competitive stuff. Right now you look at these companies like US Mobile or Mint Mobile, these different ones that they're undercutting Verizon and AT&T, because what they're doing is they're just literally being a middleman, saying, "Hey, we're going to rent these tower spaces and have these agreements. We're not going to have any physical infrastructure. We're just going to be a borrower." And that's how you get these Mint Mobiles and these other places to have these cheaper cell phone coverages. What World Mobile is going to be doing is that's going to be happening, but they're also going to have their own infrastructure by way of air nodes. So there's going to be their own coverage. So they're paying less in rental fees. So it's going to be kind of a hybrid thing between an AT&T or Verizon and a Mint Mobile kind of a thing. A Cricket, those types of networks. So once the texting, once the cellular usage comes on, you're actually able to apply and become a World Mobile paying member as opposed to buying an eSIM. You're going to see very competitive rates for the country that you live in for normal cell phone service. This is going to be more for when you're somewhere where you don't have any partners or affiliates or connection, or you're traveling overseas. That's where I think the eSIM is going to be the more important one there.
Yeah, and you guys actually put that on my radar last time. I was thinking of this as being kind of like the bread and butter, but as you mentioned, this is probably not what you want to purchase if you're looking for, something that you're going to be using daily or with a lot of just data that you need to be consumed. Any closing thoughts here before we move into Pakistan? And then because of time, we probably won't be able to get into the AI automation today. We'll kick off the next stream with that first, but maybe we can close out with a brief update on the aerostat with some payloads and a brand new altitude being reached. So any closing thoughts or comments here?
I'm good too.
Okay.
No closing thoughts. I mean, yeah, I'm okay.
Cool deal. Cool deal. So let's jump into Pakistan. I feel like we did touch on this a little bit earlier. One of the biggest updates here within the past week alone have been just the deployment of over 336 air nodes, with a lot of new data now being brought online for WMT scan about this brand new location. So I want to maybe just pose this to the both of you. Now that we've gotten things out in Pakistan and the network is going to begin growing there, what are you guys anticipating, and what has just been somewhat of a highlight for you guys in seeing the rollout in Pakistan?
Well, for me, it's a place I called home for a year, and so knowing that the coverage is there, knowing that they are working with major telecoms company that is, laying fiber. Can't remember how many hundreds of miles of fiber optic cable they've laid just throughout Lahore and kind of the eastern side of Pakistan. There's so much infrastructure that's being built up, and they're able to partner with that, piggyback off of those efforts, and provide additional benefits and services. And again, there's over 11 million people in Lahore itself. There's 145 million people in Pakistan. I mean, it's population wise, what is it in the United States? 330, 340 million. I mean, so
Mm.
Pakistan's about 40% the size population wise of the United States in a much smaller area. Getting these air nodes up, getting the software there, so we're providing a World Mobile um, overlay for network connectivity. It's going to reach a lot of people because there's a lot of spaces in Pakistan where there's a lot more dense population than you might see in where I'm at in the middle of a cornfield. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity there, and seeing those numbers go up, knowing that there's not a single boot on the ground, knowing that they're still able to make these moves, bring in the revenue, benefit people that are in Pakistan, while still bringing in things for eventually for the Earth node operators when we start putting this on the blockchain. Bringing money in for the team to pay the bills, to be able to expand, to show that we have a viable model in in uh, you know in Asia. So it's not just a little island off the coast of Africa. It's, we have Pakistan now, a big country in Asia. We have the Southwest United States. So it's showing that this is a doable model, and what that does, that builds confidence for the team, but it also brings in a lot of investors, a lot of suitors, a lot of companies that want that involvement. So seeing this happen in Pakistan, watching these numbers go up, again, it shows how innovative this team is to use existing infrastructure to find partners who are doing the heavy lifting in certain areas. So World Mobile isn't spending hundreds of millions of dollars to invest in that infrastructure to build that specific team. They're finding people that are able there that are already doing the job. It just shows the foresight and the brilliance of this team of co-founders.
Yeah, I don't think I could have said that any better. One of the biggest things that stood out to me was just how many brand new users came online with less infrastructure compared to Zanzibar, right? So when Pakistan kicked off, again, 336 new air nodes being brought online, but I think that resulted with like 26,000 users in addition to about the 13 to 14,000 that we already had within Zanzibar. So it was real interesting for me to see that. And then even diving a little bit further into the actual article that I was just sharing, this is only being done through invitations right now. So it states here the first users in Pakistan are joining the World Mobile Network through an invite only system. These exclusive invitations have been extended to existing customers of World Call's cable broadband network, as well as their friends and family. So imagine them getting this many users online through an invite only system. I could only imagine how many people actually want to join that aren't in this current network or that aren't being included as a part of this initial invitation set. So real interesting for me to see there. And I think that was like my highlight, was seeing how much additional data was being consumed compared to Zanzibar with less infrastructure currently on the ground. So maybe once we get to, where it's neck and neck, where we have almost 500 air nodes deployed in Pakistan, that we might see Pakistan doing 2 or 3 times the numbers that are being done right now in Zanzibar. Clover, any thoughts about this?
I couldn't have said better than both of you guys. I mean, like you said, this is an invitation only right now, and I think we got like close to like 25,000 like paying customers on the network itself, just because like how dense Pakistan is, and like Rob said, it's just amazing to see like essentially how great it is to have an actual like partner of World Mobile do all of the rollout versus just World Mobile having to put up these air nodes. So it just shows, that the sharing economy works. And I'm excited to see people jump on the network, and just excited to see people using the network in general. And I would love to see some of these videos of like customers come online, especially when the B2B gets turned on and we start seeing actual like even more users. I'd love to see these like testimonials come on from actual users, like, hey, I'm jump on Twitter and say I've been using this network, and thank you so much. I've started this new business because of you guys. So maybe not directly from World Mobile themselves, but directly from like other customers on the ground. And that would just be amazing to see. And I'm sure we're gonna start seeing these type of testimonials from actual people that have never been able to afford internet connectivity per se, or maybe not even have internet connectivity. So I mean, World Mobile essentially is connecting the unconnected, but then they're also connecting the underserved as well. So we have to remember that some people might have internet connectivity, but maybe they can't afford it. So that's where World Mobile also comes in and shines as well. And maybe potential aerostat launch in Pakistan. You never know. I mean, I'm not sure if that's on the roadmap, but I'd love to see an aerostat launch there, and provide like ubiquitous coverage for everyone, and as well as possibly us being able to get involved in owning piece of the infrastructure, because we need to remember that we are going to be the people that are going to be involved in these rollouts as well, because that's the beauty of World Mobile, that you yourself can actually be involved and own a piece of this infrastructure. Because if you really think about it, like AT&T or T-Mobile or wherever your mobile network operator, they don't give you the chance to purchase one of their towers. We talked about like aerostats costing like $2 million or whatever they cost, and yeah, I mean it's a lot of money, but you really need to think about the fact that you can actually purchase one of these things, versus not being ever purchasing a tower from AT&T or whatever. So that's really the most important thing over here. And yeah, just excited that the network is growing. And I'm just excited to see United States come on board as well. It's going to be just as exciting as Pakistan.
And I want to add one thing to that, what Cal just said. Fareed, I just sent you a short link, but this is from World Mobile's YouTube. And, Cal mentioned how cool it's going to be when we start hearing that people are being able to expand their business and grow and do things, not just connect, but actually grow things based on the World Mobile network. And World Mobile has been doing a really good job of documenting some of these use cases. And one of these videos is my absolute favorite is this is Alice from Zanzibar. She runs a spice farm, and she was not only able to connect her farm to get more business, but now she's providing education for people. And you watch these videos and you just see the joy in her. I mean, you can't just help but love this lady. She's incredible, and it's because of her drive, her vision, but what World Mobile brings her. She's using for the benefit of other people, not just for her own business, but to help others. And again, you see these things, and it motivates you and encourages you to want to do more, to want to make this network happen, to want to be a part of it. And so, Cal, like what you said, we're going to see more and more of this. But what I love is when World Mobile shows these success cases and these use cases for what they've done, from the smart village and coming back after COVID and finding how it's tripled the size of the village and benefited all these people, to see what Alice is doing here in Zanzibar with the spice farm and the education. It's, you see these things, and how could you not want to dive in even more? I mean, you almost have to have people hold you back and say, whoa, slow down a little bit. So very, very exciting to know that what we're doing isn't just for our own benefits or our own connectivity, but we're actually helping people in the world just to see their dreams and to help others.
What a wonderful way to wrap up that segment there. I think there's a huge benefit, again, not only to, like you just mentioned, real people's lives, right? And giving them access to brand new opportunities. But imagine how much faster the network will spread once you start to have these people actually telling their family members, telling their brothers, telling their sisters about how World Mobile is revolutionized and given them an opportunity, right? I think this is just the beginning. Right now, a lot of the chat is coming from ENOs, who have obviously some skin in the game, but I can't wait to finally get people that have been impacted by this to start sharing their stories, and therefore allowing for other people to see that this is a viable opportunity and that this is something to really take seriously. So as we get ready to wind down today's live stream, there's two last things that I want to chat about. Number one is going to be a brand new update surrounding the aerostat. So I am not sure about you guys, but when they just announced that the aerostat was actually up, I was so excited that I forgot to even think about what else has to come after the aerostat is actually up and running. So that includes obviously attaching a payload and then making sure that they can get to the right altitude to actually fly with the payload. So that said, we've got an update here coming in. Let's see here. This was on October 24th, announcing that the aerostat is now flying at operating altitude. And so I wanted to just briefly bring this up. And then there's also another piece of information surrounding the fact that the actual payload, right, which is instrumental to the actual operation of the network, has now also been attached to the aerostat itself. So I'll turn it over to Rob and Cal here, just for your thoughts surrounding some of the recent updates about the aerostat. Now that, it's up, a lot of the hype has kind of slowed down a little bit, and we're now digesting all this news.
I'm gonna jump in and say I'm still hyped. Every single time I see one of these videos, I get really, really hyped, you know? I mean, it's just the beginning of something amazing. And, you know, the first commercial launch of an aerostat in East Africa, we've never seen this happen before. And it's just, it's good to see the payload, be attached to the bottom right there. You see from the video, it's good to see that the aerostat is flying in its height that it could fly to. And I believe that this specific aerostat, from what we hear, it's a newer type of aerostat where it could actually fly higher than the 300 meters that it's supposed to fly. So maybe the team will take the aerostat to an even bigger height. And it's exciting, and it's will be even more exciting to see it on in the WMT scan, and also would be really exciting to see how many people are going to be connected to this aerostat. So it's a good milestone. It's a good start, and it's just beautiful to see it, and keep on seeing these videos live, and the continuous coverage from the team. So I believe there is an actual video that we're all waiting for, that the team will be releasing. They keep on teasing little bits of pieces of information of the aerostat being launched, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be like a final video that the team is putting together for us to see. So I'm actually really excited to see that.
Rob?
Yeah, again, I know they're still testing things out, but it's the fulfillment of all these things they've been working for. And what's nice about it is this isn't the end. Once this thing is fully operational and it's at the height they want, and they have the payload on there, and they have the all the equipment that they need to broadcast for however many 70 plus kilometers. Once that's there, it doesn't end there. They're still building. They're still working on different antennas and different things that they're going to be able to broadcast more. They're fine tuning this cookie cutter approach. They say, all right, we've done it. This is what it takes. We know the variables that are going to be needed to make this happen again and again and again. And so, if you think about it, this is still testing. This is phase one of the assembly line. They want to have that cookie cutter approach. They want to have that ability to deploy, and this is the start. But what this is going to mean for that area is huge, and it might mean more for them than what it means for what World wants to do. Based on the development and what people are able to take from this and make out of it. So very, very exciting. I'm happy for the people there in Mozambique. I'm happy for the World Mobile team. It's got to be very, very satisfying for them. And I'm also happy that for a minute we can shut some people up when they one balloon. Hey, it's up. It's working. Shut up.
Yeah, I got a lot of flack and a lot of questions about that, even in my own video comments, right? It was always, World Mobile says that they're gonna get this aerostat up, but they haven't done it. And that was a really big hang up. And I think that's one thing that I've learned just about crypto in general, right? A lot of people expect for things to be rolled out instantly or very quickly. And I realized that that's just not how anything in this space operates. Even looking back at, for example, updates or upgrades to the network itself, right? I think about Valso last year and how there was so many people talking about, how big of an impact it was going to have. And even a year later, while we do have, I think, over 3,000 smart contracts using V2 now, there's still, I think, 7 to 8,000 contracts being built in V1. So I say all that to say that even though we get a lot of updates in the space, things are somewhat implemented slowly. And it's not a bad thing. I think sometimes you just have to take your time before you do something, especially as big as getting an aerostat up in the air and launch. So I'm glad that we can put those people to rest and that we can finally move forward and talk about the additional launch of other aerostats. So that was actually one thing that I posted in my recent interview to Mickey. I'm not sure if you guys have gotten the chance to check that out, but if you guys have not, feel free to head over to the channel. There is an interview with myself and Mickey breaking down where he thinks we might see an additional aerostat in the near future, and that was surprisingly within the USA. So I think that's been something that a lot of people have been coming to, what is the word here? They've been trying to wrap their head around, is like, where's mobile going next? And the fact that they're coming to the US, I think surprised a lot of people, right? So people are saying, hey, World Mobile's aiming to connect the unconnected. Why are they coming to the USA? People here are connected, but I want to remind everybody that there's still a pretty big gap in terms of connection within the US as well. So I don't think that it's wrong for them to look and to pivot into the USA. And if they're also able to get things rolled out faster, it makes sense, right? At least get something rolling first, and then you can always focus back on some of those other countries. So at this point, we've been going for about an hour and a half. I want to give you guys a second to respond to either what I just mentioned or just give us your closing thoughts here as a part of today's live stream.
Speaking of your video, yeah, I mean you're absolutely right, because the USA, it's going to be just a different type of rollout. It's going to be a different type of I guess animal or beast, you can say, because the type of air nodes that are going to be rolled out here are a little bit different from what we're seeing in Pakistan and Zanzibar. I mean, they did acquire an actual license, to launch here in the United States. So we're going to be seeing, even though they've been using band 71 in different types of areas, but we are going to be seeing CBRS band 48 type of nodes come up here in the States. So the rollout, it's going to be a little bit different. And I don't know if you guys remember, what was it, like maybe like a few weeks back when we saw a post where someone was put up a radio in Reno, and there was like about 10,000 devices trying to connect to one node. So here in the United States, there is just as much as desire for connectivity, and there's even more people that are connected, but they're essentially underserved. And also, reverting back to your most recent interview with Mickey, which actually was really, really good, and I recommend everyone go and check it out. Mickey did put some alpha in there that I kind of want to bring up over here and ask you, Fareed, because it sounds like you might be the first person that will walk us through an installation of an air node. So I kind of wanted to ask you here to whatever you can share. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I did want to ask and see what that entails.
Yeah, you're definitely not putting me on the spot. I do appreciate you asking that. So just to clarify, it won't actually be the installation process of an air node. What it will be an interview with a key member from the team who actually will be at their next community update. So one second here, I do have to plug this in for anybody who isn't aware. The World Mobile team will be having a X space taking place here. I believe it is on the 1st of November, but we're planning to hear from Mickey Watkins, Alan Omnet, James Tagg, Gregory Gottlieb, Antonio Hernandez, and then Mike Blake Crawford. Now, what I can say, Clover, is that it's going to be an interview with one of the people there that I just listed, but we're going to be chatting about Apan and everything that is going to be going into their upcoming sales platform. So that, I think, is the most I can share right now. I'll be giving you guys an introductory look at what is coming up with Apan, but it won't actually be content surrounding how to install an air node. It'll be more or less how to purchase and get an air node reservation done. So hopefully that's enough alpha there. I don't want to speak too much, but definitely stay tuned. That will be coming on the channel within the next week.
Solid. Hey, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe right now, because you don't want to miss this. Everyone's, I see already in the comments, when AirNode sales, well, this is going to be your first chance to view the actual platform and to see how everything's going to happen. So make sure you tune in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Rob, any words to close us out here for today's live stream?
Well, it's kind of maybe similar to what I ended with last time. You mentioned about an air node deployment. I'm sorry, an aerosat deployment here in the United States, and some people giving a little pushback about why are you connecting the United States? It's one of the wealthiest countries in the world. It has one of the biggest economies. It has the most cell phone connectivity. There are gaps. There are people that are in need here in this country. But like we talked about last time as well, you have to consider a number of factors here. Number one, World Mobile is trying to find the right way to deploy in different settings, different environments. You have Zanzibar, which is an island. You have Zanzibar that maybe there's not much going on there outside of some direct Starlink or some other type of connectivity, where a major portion of the people in Zanzibar are unconnected. So they're deploying an entire network there where none exists. So that is a complete coverage. You have Mozambique where they're doing the aerostat. That's an aerial coverage over a wide area where right now there's not the air nodes, but you have the aerostat. So you're blanketing an entire area and seeing what does this look like without the air nodes? Well, what does Zanzibar look like without the aerostat? Then they maybe start to mix those two and merge those two on another deployment. You have Pakistan that has a partner company that's been laying fiber for internet type services, and you have World Mobile coming over the top of that and using that infrastructure to push the World Mobile signal and to partner with a pre-existing company that's already there. We talked about last time the company in Oregon, the telecommunications company in Oregon, or the internet company in Oregon, that has all these towers and has all this network, and they're using this pre-established system that World Mobile is able to boost the signal for, benefit for in a different way with this legacy infrastructure. So now you have all of these different types of deployments and layouts. You have what's going on, they're at the University of San Diego testing it out, major city in the US. They're rolling out in Reno. And what they're doing is they're testing the different air nodes. And this is more the Swiss cheese approach, that nook and cranny type of approach, where you're finding the spots where they could provide a service where the others aren't in the midst of, service coverage. So now you're finding, how is this going to work for the deployment of air nodes where there is established service? And you start to see what all of those look like. You start to figure out, okay, well, what do these places have in common? What are the differences? What's the topology? Can we put an aerostat in the middle of a rainforest? Can we put the aerostat in the middle of a mountain range? Probably not. Can we tap onto some towers and provide some additional service in some of those regions where there's some pre-existing stuff? There again, this is all still testing. It's all still deployment. They want the cookie cutter approach, but if you think about your Christmas cookies, they're not all just candy cane Christmas cookies. There's the stars and there's the bells and there's different holidays have different things, but it's not not every cookie is a circle. Right? So you have different ways to deploy, and that way they say, all right, hey, now we want to do something in Great Britain. Now we want to do something in Thailand. Now we want to do something in Argentina. And we say, okay, well, based on the topology, based on the population density, based on the pre-existing stuff that's there, we have experience that we can bring, and we can tell you this is the best way to deploy. So they're able to do a whole lot of different things while still having this cookie cutter approach, while still having partners with boots on the ground, so they don't have to bring over the team. Some areas they might need to bring a team over, but they're figuring this out. They're fine tuning these things so they can do a more massive and rapid deployment when it's appropriate to do so. You'd hate to go off half cocked. You'd hate to push something out that's not ready. Now you're a big letdown. You only get one chance at this, and that's why they're calculated. That's why they're doing it right. And the other thing that we talked about is, there's a cost. And how much money does World Mobile have? I don't know. But I do know that what they're putting out right now costs more than what they're bringing in. And so they might be relying on personal funds, investor funds. There might be some loans or some of the, I don't know. I can't speak to that. I have no idea. But I do know that what these things cost, they're not bringing in based on the 25 or the 38,000 users on WMT scan right now. So at some point, you're going to have to find a place like the United States that maybe you can charge a little bit more based on the standard of living, based on the economy and the income of people, that is going to be able to bring that money in. So now they can fill their coffers. Now that they can say, all right, we have the money to do this. We have the money to pay the staff. We have the money to not just do like we'll talk about next time, the AI call centers and the AI customer service. We can actually staff some of those with some people as well, instead of this high tech state of the art AI. they're going to have money to do more things and more options, but you can't wear yourself too thin when there's nothing in the wallet. And so they need to have a way to bring in some income. They need to have a way to generate the ability to maintain and to expand and move forward. And again, that's part of that is getting the system online, testing out with the air nodes, testing out with the earth nodes, how this is going to work so that people will want to buy the infrastructure because they know it'll be cost beneficial for them. They want to support the network. And World Mobile can say, all right, now we have a more robust network. We have deployment in all these areas, but we have the ability to cover because of our sharing economy, because the people are buying into this, because the people want to be a part of this. And so as they grow, they're not just building sticks for a house and hoping that it holds up. They're laying a base. As they're building, they're backfilling and they're putting everything in. So they're building a solid structure, so it's not going to get blown over the first time there's a negative thing. The first time there's a power outage. The first time the aerostat comes down because of damage or because of a storm or something else, they're not going to panic. They're building things the right way. They're doing so in a way that they can sustain this, they can maintain this, they can expand this. So I'm very, very excited. I absolutely believe in this company. I believe in the people that are behind it. I know them personally because they have introduced themselves to us. They've come to these gatherings, these meetings. We've had the chance to sit down, give them hugs, shake hands, tell stories, learn about them. This isn't some corporate boardroom somewhere that the private, the investors are buying a stock to. Hey, maybe this will go up, and I'm going to buy a stock, and I'm going to hopefully that number go up. These are guys that are out there in the community. They could be funding all these things themselves. They could be saying, we're going to do this, and then we're going to make billions of dollars, and we're going to retire and buy islands and all these things. They're not doing that. They're saying we want everyone to come with us. That's why they're allowing people in these countries like Zanzibar, Pakistan, the ability to buy their own air nodes, because then they can benefit off of that and increases the revenue, increases the economy in that specific area. It lifts everybody up. It's truly the rising tide that's lifting all ships. That they don't want to be the Verizon or the AT&T or the different telecoms in the different countries that are just here's the CEO who's a multi-billionaire that has 5 of his own private planes. They don't want that. They're getting away from that model, and they're saying, hey, we're doing this together. You need this. Let's find a way to make it work for you as well. So I love it. I believe in it. I am absolutely behind it, and that's why I don't get frustrated. That's why I don't say when. The only times I worry about when is this going to happen too soon? Am I not going to be ready for this? Am I not going to have the money to buy an air node? Am I not going to have the money to get the token at 13 cents when it's going to go to 25 or 30 or $1 or whatever? I don't know. And I'm not one of those guys that worries too much about that, because I know long term this is where I want to be, and I'm trying to set myself up that my family benefits off of it, that I can help benefit others in this community off of it. That's where I want to be. That's why I believe in this company, and that's why I'm so far behind it.
Rob, you are officially going to be called the closer. I love the way that you close us out here with such passion and so much knowledge. I do have to plug the both of you guys here as we get ready to wind things down, and I'll just give my last and closing comments as well. So yeah, I do think that, great things take a long time to build, and that's what we're seeing here with not just World Mobile, but other triple A or premium projects building on the ecosystem. One thing that I've noticed is they don't necessarily focus on, the immediate hype. They focus on just delivering, and that's one thing that I've seen from the World Mobile team: continuous and methodical delivering. Again, with the biggest highlight in the past couple of weeks, the addition of data coming in from Pakistan. Now, I want to just quickly shout out Clover Notes and Rob here. If you guys are not already following these two gentlemen, please follow them on Twitter. We've got Rob's account here, which is at Rob Cardano. As you guys just heard there, he's not only super passionate, but very well versed. He's an OG here in the space when it comes to World Mobile. I also want to take a second here to shout out Clover Nodes. If you guys are not following him on Twitter, please do so at Clover Nodes. He's not only an Earth node operator, but also a stake pool operator. And they both actually are contributing to the decentralization here that we have on Cardano. Now, we didn't get through all of the topics here for today, which I think leaves us a little bit of leeway and some topics to talk about during our next live stream. But one thing that I do want to quickly just close out with is going to be an invitation for any other ENOs that are watching this live stream, either live or as a part of the replay. If you guys are not camera shy and you guys want to, jump on here, chat with myself, Rob, and Cal, or Clover Nodes, then definitely reach out to either one of us. Or you can, I believe, also reach out to the Earth Node Alliance. So I'll go ahead and leave the link to the Earth Node Alliance down below as a part of today's video description. But I would love, and I'm sure that Rob and Cal would also love to get other ENOs or supporters of the World Mobile Project up here to chat and get their thoughts about what is going on. We are coming up.
Reed,
go right ahead.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
You've been very nice to us, and I needed to talk about you a little bit. I think it'd be a terrible thing to be a guest on your show and not talk about who you are and how we know each other and why Cal and I keep coming back to this. I mean, obviously we met at Rare Evo. We got to hang out again in Las Vegas at the NFT Las Vegas. But before that, I've been following you. And in fact, it was Cal that introduced me to your channel. And he said, "Hey, you gotta check this guy out. He's doing some amazing things." I started watching, and immediately I was hooked. And you do such a great job of dissecting everything happening in this very ever-changing world of crypto, especially in the Cardano ecosystem. But you're able to do it in a way that makes guys who are not technical like myself understand. I look at some of these projects and I have no idea what they're doing, and then I watch your channel and I say, "Oh, now this makes sense." You do an amazing job. You have such a professional demeanor and appearance. You present so well with this channel and everything that you do around it, from the intro to just how you orchestrate. You sent us an email about, "Hey, here are the topics. Here's the flow we want for this." Cal and I, we can sit here and just chit chat all day and talk about stuff. It might not be structured or ordered, and you do such a good job of coordinating this, of passing the mic back and forth, of taking care of your guests. It's a pleasure to be on this. And my wife watched the last one that we did 2 weeks ago, and she was just in awe of what a great job you did and what a great host you are. And I said this last week as well, but you are the number one influencer for me on Cardano and in crypto. You're the only one I watch when it comes to trying to learn more about what's happening in this ecosystem. Nice, I like that, Cal.
I got Clover there with the facts.
I'm glad to call you a friend. I'm glad to know you. I'm glad to be a guest on your show. But just please be encouraged, because I think that's why we have so many people here watching and participating. That's why you have so many hundreds and thousands of views on your videos, is because people see how genuine you are, how intelligent you are, and how you break things down for people to understand in an orderly and understandable way. So thank you so much for having us on here, for having me on here. Thank you for what you do. It's very, very encouraging, and I'm so excited to know that I can be a part of this in some way because of how great of a job you do.
Thank you so much, man. If I could blush, I'd be blushing right now. I really do appreciate it so much.
Bromance.
You guys have been go ahead.
Bromance.
No, I really do appreciate you guys. I feel like I've got a second family in the World Mobile community. It's been a pleasure meeting the both of you, hanging out with the both of you. And again, I want to say thank you guys for bringing your knowledge onto my channel as well. These chats I find to be super informative, even for myself, trying to cover as many updates as I can. I am nowhere near an expert about World Mobile as the both of you are. So I hope that everybody else who did watch this live stream today, or who joined us as a part of today's live stream, did enjoy it as much as I did. I definitely look forward to having the both of you back on. Hopefully within the next week or two. I will be heading over to Dubai for the summit. So I'll be taking next Saturday off in terms of content creation and stuff like that. But maybe we can catch up the following week. And as I opened up the floor earlier to any other ENOs that want to join us, feel free to reach out directly to Rob or Cal. Just mention that you want to appear on, the live streams, or you can reach out to myself down in the comments section below. That will bring us to the end here. Go ahead.
Next, what you're saying is the next time we're on together, we're gonna have to host you because you're the one hanging out with Mickey and the team. You're the one coming back from Dubai with the alpha that Cal and I won't have. And so just be ready to answer some hard questions when it comes. Remember, in real life, I spent 8.5 years of my career as a detective, interviewing homicide and robbery and rape suspects. So I am pretty good at grilling when I need to. So just get ready. You might have to mute me because I'm maybe asking a little too much, or but just get ready for that. It's going to happen because you're the one with all the inside information coming from Dubai.
No, I will definitely make sure to bring my pen and paper. I will have an interview with Mickey, and you'll be getting all the alpha as soon as I make it back. That will bring us to the end here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys found today's chat to be helpful, please make sure to tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by the YouTube channel and you want more content like this surrounding the top builders on Cardano, and including World Mobile, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions for myself, Cal, or Rob, then please make sure to go ahead and leave those down below as a part of today's video. That said, we will catch you guys in the next stream. Peace.